Hello, and welcome to today's event, how Infor CSD helps building material distributors scale smarter. In today's webinar, you'll learn how to navigate increased customer demands, leverage data analytics, and optimize your supply chain. At the end of the presentation today, you will this will be recorded, so you can we'll make sure we send that out to everyone who's attending. By the way, we thank you for hanging out with us today. Today's presenter is Mr. Rob Dallas. 30 plus years working with Infor Distribution products, 15 plus years solutions consultant with SXE, CloudSuite Distribution products, and an overall swell person. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We have a little icons down at the bottom of our screen. You can ask questions, view any related content we have supplied, view a speaker bio, and request a demo for yourself or your company. And without further ado, Rob, take it away.
Thanks, Jason, and welcome everyone. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us. Just got a few slides as part of the introduction, and then we'll spend about 10-15 minutes or so in software. And then, as Jason mentioned, there will be time for some Q&A at the conclusion of the webinar. So as far as the agenda goes, we're going to discuss some industry characteristics, the Infor Distribution ERP solution, the demo I mentioned. Then I want to cover a little bit about the Action difference and who we are, who Jason and I work for, Action Associates. And then again, there will be time for Q&A. So Infor is the author or manufacturer of CloudSuite Distribution, or you'll often hear it referenced as CSD. They are currently the third largest ERP company in the world. I think it's important to note that they are striving to be leaders in technology and innovation, but you can also see their strong microvertical expertise there on the left, specifically in the BMAT area, right? 9 of the top 10 distributors. So some of the 2025 innovation drivers. So key factors driving innovation. Economic growth, of course, right? Drives overall industry expansion. Population growth. Increased demand for residential and commercial buildings, demand for rebuild and repairs, right? That's always a constant project. Changes to building codes and regulations, especially down south or areas that have been damaged by storms or natural events. Increased demand for green and sustainable building materials, which reflects a shift towards the eco-friendly and energy efficient solutions. Why CSD? Inventory optimization. So really the advanced inventory management is the greatest strength of CSD, and it has tools to help improve customer service levels and free up capital, helping you manage how much inventory to have and when to buy more and how much to buy, taking into account seasonal items, the velocity, right, the movement class, profitability of an item, hits, and many other factors. Pricing and margin optimization. So pricing recommendations to enable you to maximize your margins. Operations efficiencies. So optimize your processes, controls costs, and helps achieve operational excellence. And then employee onboarding, and a superior user interface, role-based analytics, and learning tools to optimize employee adoption and performance. CSD is embedded with micro-vertical leading practices. So the best practices for your micro-vertical, right, in this case BMAT, and functionality around those micro-verticals. So again, you can see here in the section that I have labeled with building materials, configuration of windows and doors. Right? That's a common functionality requirement. So Infor has a CPQ, a configurator module, that allows you, it's a rules-based configurator. You can select a door, whether it's hinged on the left or right. Maybe then there's different options for, is it a glass panel or what type of handle can go based on previous selections. Job management is very important as well in the building materials microvertical. CSD comes with deep out-of-the-box functionality. It offers advanced features, including scalability. Again, it's designed from the ground up for large distributors. We have companies that have 40, 50, 60 locations, hundreds of users processing thousands of orders a day. It is built to manage your multiple warehouses, whether you have distribution centers. How do we replenish one location? Are we getting it from a vendor at each location? How do you replenish a specific item? Are you getting it from a vendor? Are you getting it from a distribution center? Are you making it, etc.? Data-driven decisions, so powerful analytics and reporting tools, customer-centric, so keep customer pricing commitments, and tools around to update and manage those pricing records and updating those costs that you receive from your vendors and manufacturers. Cloud Advantage, of course, you can access it from anywhere as long as you have a cellular Wi-Fi connection, whether that be on a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, or even a smartphone. Integration capabilities, so seamless integrations with other applications. So part of the core product is a middleware called Ion, which includes the real-time APIs, BODs, and other technology layers to allow us to seamlessly integrate with your other applications, whether that be your own website, a CRM application that you like, or any other, again, service rental, other modules or applications that you may be utilizing. CSD can help transform your business by providing consistent customer experience. So build a positive customer experience online with the robust e-commerce, order entry, and mobile capabilities. We talked about optimizing your supply chain process, right? Controlling costs, controlling inventory and movement of inventory, as well as order fulfillment. Gaining the business insight, again, with distribution-specific analytics, pricing science, and more utilization of AI. Drive employee productivity, leverage a superior user interface, and role-based BI, and learning tools to optimize employees. So Infor CloudSuite Distribution, again, the true competitive advantage for distributors. Again, you can see where the others are and where Infor falls with industry specific, which is a faster path to value, industry-leading practices, quicker and easier deployments, again, evergreen cloud platform, always on, and architecture for innovation, again, continued business innovation and those seamless integration. What's included in your subscription? So everything in this top section is included. So the core capabilities, sales management, pricing, quoting, etc., advanced inventory management, real-time accounting, and proof of delivery. That is all included with the core capabilities. There are optional capabilities as well, where maybe extended solutions you don't need today, but as a business evolves, it's as simple as licensing and adding these extended solutions. And that could be as simple as maybe a WMS system where we want to go paperless and barcodes in the warehouse, configure price quote that I mentioned, especially in the BMAT vertical. Service and repair. A lot of distributors are having to go into service and repair to compete with the big box retailers, right? Offering additional services. CRM is another good one. And all of this sits on what's called the Infor OS. And this is the platform that's included. It's a technology layer. Again, you see some of the aspects of it, the AI I mentioned, real-time APIs, workflows and alerts, which allows you to configure best practices when something occurs, what should happen, who should be notified, who gets tasks automatically. So you're able to define best practices. Again, it could be industry-specific best practices or just practices you've defined within your organization. Document management, full-blown document management system is included as well. And all of this sits on Amazon Web Services. Right? So you get their leading edge security, technology, redundancy, et cetera, and reliability. All right, so with that, I am going to share my screen. And give me just a second here. All right, like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do is take you through a couple scenarios, looking up inventory and pricing for a customer and honoring those price contracts that you have. Status of an order, it's always important, as well as placing a new order. So the first thing I'm going to do is jump into a tool that we have called customer pricing inquiry. I don't have to start a quote or an order to get that inventory count or to get what the pricing is specific to this customer. So I could go through the main menu and go into an inquiry and pricing inquiry. What's nice here is that a user only sees the functionality that they've been granted security. But you can also just type in what you're looking to do, whether that be an access code, right, the acronym, or if I type in pricing, I see any functions that contain those characters. So I'm going to go ahead and look for my account. And it's as simple as just start typing in anything I know related to the account, the number, the name, a phone number, address, a contact. And you can see it narrowed down my search results. Same with product lookups. It's summer, so we're going to look for a grill. And in this case, we want a built-in grill. So I'm just going to continue to add characteristics of the grill. And now, similar to a Google search, you see any hits that contain both are here at the top. I also get to see availability within my default location. But let's say you sell 80 different built-in grills. Well, you can use the advanced search icon. It's going to pop a window. Right? We can see a short description, current availability, a 256 character extended description, all of which is part of your lookups and searches. So you can have characteristics, dimensions, attributes, even slang terms, anything to help your users quickly and easily find the products they're looking for. So I'm going to select an item, and first thing that jumps out at you here is that we do see a product image. Throughout the system, you will see some images, but over here on the right in the Smart panel, I can open up a web part, and one of the web parts is for document management. So as you navigate the system, it's dynamically and intelligently changing what it's providing based on what you're looking at. So in doc management, I could see anything related to the customer I'm looking at, or in this case, related to the product. That could be a spec sheet that I want to drill into and maybe email to a customer, which I could do from my browser or even right here within doc management, or maybe it's the product image, right? And maybe it's customer notes that I want to see. And if they're urgent notes, they would pop automatically, or activities. So, and many other web parts that you can define. And you can leave this panel open, or most people just have it collapsed or pull it off to a secondary monitor if you have one of those environments. We see here current availability, the list price of this item, but also what is this customer's today price? Now this is going through our contracts and pricing records. So again, and notice that it's blue, that the field is green. So I've personalized the UI. One of the nice things about CloudSuite Distribution is by user or by groups of users, role-based or company-wide, we can do personalization and extensibility, meaning we can change the UI, we can move fields, relabel fields, add fields. And there's security around who can use that functionality, of course. So I see here, again, their price. I could type in different quantities to see quantity breaks, different units of measure, maybe enter in a worksheet to do some different cost plus, list less scenarios. But as I'm looking at items, I can actually just hit record price and go to the next item. So let's say I look at 5 items for this customer. At the conclusion, they might ask you to send them a quote on what you've just reviewed. Well, you don't have to go into quote entry and re-enter those items. You actually can just hit the create quote button. Quote is automatically generated, and then right from within CSD, you could email that quote to your customer, prospective customer. So now let's say the second part of our scenario, they have a question about an order. So I'm going to jump into order inquiry. And of course, we knew the order number we had recently visited, we could drill in, but all the inquiries have this nice and powerful advanced search. So there are many different fields I can utilize, in this case, to find a sales document, but by user, you set your default preferences of which fields I'm going to use. Because one of Infor's philosophies is to keep screens simple and clean, right? There might be 40 fields, but we don't want them all on this screen right here. It would make the system look complicated, right? Cumbersome. So here are the 7 I typically use, but maybe in this scenario, I need to go down and I want to turn on any additional fields, maybe a date range, maybe, let's say product, maybe the reference field, maybe the transaction types. Okay. And now again, based on the underlying technology, you can see it changed the UI, the underneath, right? The user experience for this individual. And you can have saved searches by user. Maybe as a sales rep, you want to quickly get in to see your open orders or quotes, or maybe for your largest account, or by a job that you're constantly reviewing and evaluating. In my example, I'm going to look for part of a customer PO. Right? Notice I have a list here. One thing to point out, whenever you see a blue hyperlink, you have the ability to drill down or drill across. So in this case, it took us right into customer inquiry for that account. But I could do that on an item link, and the pricing record, etc. So let's go ahead and drill down into this order. And I see a nice overview. I see a visual representation of margin and cost. I see what stage is this order in as it transitions through the system. We just have one order number that does transition through different stages. And if there are multiple shipments against this order, there's a 2-digit suffix. Notice these subtabs at the top. Again, it's an example of more information right at your fingertips, so I could just quickly select line detail. Now I see all the lines on this order. Again, all these hyperlinks take me to different places. So again, single click access to additional information. I can sort by any column by clicking on the header. You can rearrange the columns in any order you want, because most of these grids have 30, 40, 60 different columns of information. And based on your role within the organization, maybe I want to see, common example, cost, if I have security to see it. So maybe I want that displayed right next to the pricing column. And again, that's by user or role-based for groups of users, or company-wide. And again, we can nail down security. You could change the UI if that is a requirement. Any of the grids can be exported to Excel. They come in nicely configured with filtering already pre-established, or you could even turn on filtering right within the CSD ERP itself. Meaning I'm looking at this order, it's, let's say, 80 lines. Well, I quickly want to find my tab extension. So I can go through and just filter on the description that contains tab extensions. And now I quickly see those items. So that's on any column in any grid. You have this nice filtering capability. Okay. All right. So let's say there's a document we wanted to associate with this order. Maybe it's the customer PO. They emailed it to us, or it's a drawing or something we want to establish. So as I mentioned, document management is included, tight integration. So I could use this paperclip at the top right to browse out. Or if I go to my MacBook here, to my desktop, I could just grab the customer PO, drag and drop it within that box. Now it just wants to know how we want to file it. We're associating it with an order. And what is it? In this case, it's a customer PO. Now, anytime anyone is working with or looking in the inquiry of this order, they'd have access to any of those digital documents. So let's say now in our scenario, our customer wants to place a new order. So I could go to the menu or do an access code, but notice in all the inquiries now, they've made it much easier to jump into where maybe I want to maintain this order, print it, or even add a new order. So I can just click on new. It remembers who you've been working with. So anytime I click on any field, so not just the customer field, but any field, it shows you your MRUs, your most recently used. Okay. We're going to create a stock order, but I could easily create a quote or any other type of order. So again, the system's very easy to use because there's one entry screen. You just designate what type of order am I creating. So I'm going to go ahead and create this order. Orientation is left to right. So my header banner's over here on the left. I could change that order type if I started a quote and they wanted an order, or the reverse. I can reassign the ship to or the job if I accidentally use the wrong one, or I could see a running total of my order, product selections in the middle, and my shopping cart or footers over here on the right. By user, you select your default method to find items, and I'll toggle through them here in a second, but this is called easy entry. And I like it because it resembles what I'm used to doing in my personal life. Let's say on Amazon, I get to see product images, right? Here are some LED lights that we want to see. Short description, availability, this customer's today price, again, going through all our contracts or pricing records. Another nice feature of this interface is that you might get multiple hits that your customer is interested in. So it's as simple as just setting the quantity for each item they're interested in. And with one single action, we can add those 3 items to my shopping cart, like to my order. And if I was finished with the order, I could hit finish and quickly get out. So I could build an order in 3 or 4 seconds. we're going to do some additional processing, but it really is built for speed. Maybe they want to buy something they purchased in the past. So we're going to jump into shopping. And in this case, drive off past sales. So for any time period, we're going to see a simple list of everything they purchased. So it's going to show each item once. I see current availability, their to-date price, going through our pricing records, the last date of purchase, the last price they paid, this quantity recommended is the last quantity they purchased. So it gives you the opportunity to upsell, get product image, there's additional information. There's a ton of it over here. So again, if we wanted cost, margin, and margin percent, those were important to us, and we had security to view those, maybe I'd want to pull those over next to price, so I'm not scrolling to the right. But again, all of these grids have an extensive amount of information. Now, you could do the filtering, as we reviewed, to find the item you're interested in. You could do the search icon. But what makes this grid unique is it is actually an order pad. So as you find the items you're interested in, you can use your mouse or carriage return and your arrow keys and go down and set the items that your customer is interested in. Then again, with one single action, you can add those lines to the order. You may also want to drive off a list of promotional products. Could be dead stock you're pushing. Could be models that you're replacing. Right? Could be machinery. Could be a tool that there's a new model, and we're really good at handling those with what's called a supersede item. And there's rules around that you can set, whether you have to sell out of the old model before you can sell the new. The history from the old item is tied to the new item for replenishment calculations. You can also have custom lists. So maybe for certain types of customers or certain types of builders, here are the 30 items they commonly buy. Or maybe for your larger customers, you have a list specific to them. Here's what they typically buy, go through and just set the quantities and build out my order. The other entry method that is the most common is advanced, and this probably resembles what you're used to using in your current ERP. Again, notice simple and clean screen, right? Where I can just enter product, quantity, price, etc. But there's additional information under the extended view, and any of these fields, right, that you're looking at by user could be moved over into this panel. So for example, if cost and discount were important to me because I am allowed to negotiate within tolerances, of course, I might want to see those right here on this window, in this panel, right, without having to toggle over the extended fields. And of course, product selection, I could enter in a SKU and just hit carriage return for a quantity of one, or I could just start typing in something related to the item, like a frame. And maybe I want 2 of these, so I just tab over twice. And then when I add this item, it's been defined in the system with options or accessories. So now you have the ability to upsell, offer your customer, do you need any rollers, hardware, or belting with that item? And maybe they do want the hardware, let's say 3 of those. And in this case, maybe the belting, 10 feet of belting. And now when you hit submit, all 3 of those items are automatically added to the order. Okay. I mentioned you can hit finish at any time, but you can jump over and look at the taxes and totals. Okay? And you can manage your tax jurisdictions manually, but we also can integrate to a tax solution like Avalara to automate that management for you and to file your taxes. I can review the totals. Or if I want to click over on collect payment, maybe you want to collect a deposit for this job, maybe a percentage or a dollar amount. We can have multiple payment types on an order if they want some by credit card, some by check. Fully integrated credit card system meets all the latest federal PCI requirements. Okay. So none of your credit card information is in the order. And specific to builders and jobs, I know it's important to be able to do lump sum billing. That is part of our system as well. So you don't have to match what you're billing to what you're shipping. One could be greater than the other. We could be billing 25% of the project, then start shipping inventory, and then maybe down the road we're billing another 25%, or we start shipping and then we just bill at certain milestones. Again, there's flexibility there with our lump sum billing. Okay, or again, if I was finished, I could hit finish. It's going to go through any rules that we've established. And those, of course, would be credit limit, but also checking the margin tolerances, as I mentioned, or price discrepancy. And then if it fails, of course, it would go on hold. And then those workflows we talked about could automatically trigger an alert to someone or give them a task to go review and approve this order. Okay, so with that, let me go back now and stop sharing my screen. Okay, a few slides here. So let me go ahead. There we go. So why Infor and why CloudSuite Distribution? Infor is very distribution focused. This is their flagship distribution product where they're adding all their key distribution functionality and obviously to the BMAT microvertical, but they're also adding innovation and technology to be modern, to make it so users can work the way they're used to living in their personal lives. Again, leveraging technology. Action Associates, who Jason and I work for, is Infor's largest partner. 25-year gold partner. We've won their Circle of Excellence Award. We support over 700 of their distribution customers with expertise in distribution, like manufacturing, warehousing, and e-commerce. You can see our key industries: industrial, obviously building materials, electrical, PHVAC, paper, Jansan, food and beverage, and more. And we have over 225 employees across the country, so we're able to offer standard support from 8 a.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Pacific. But not only ERP support, we also offer many other offerings. So it is our goal to be your one-stop shop for anything you need, technology related. Right? Either we will have a solution for you or we can help guide you in the right direction. Okay, so I do apologize. We started a few minutes early just because we had some time constraints that we didn't want to run late. So I do appreciate everyone that did come in. If you missed a little bit at the beginning, I know Jason had mentioned it will be recorded, so you will get that. But Jason, at this time, I'll throw it to you. Do we have any questions?
I think right now, I think you covered everyone's needs at this moment. Once again, if you have any questions, I'll give you the contact info for Rob himself. Reach out to me at Jason, JKNACKSTEDT@action.com. And I can direct you to the sales team member or the application consultant that can answer your questions. So once again, thank you for everyone for hanging out with us today on this Tuesday afternoon this summer. If you have anything you need, feel free to use your mobile phone to scan that QR code. That'll take you to our landing page for Building Material Distributors. You'll see white papers, customer success stories, links to register for any upcoming events we have this summer. And ways to contact us if there's anything you think you need to know that we didn't cover in today's webinar. So once again, thank you for everyone who stayed with us today. You can reach out to Rob himself at rdallas@action.com to get a demo, learn more about the product, learn more about Action or any of the Infor solutions that here at Action we offer. Once again, I'm Jason Nackstead, industry marketing specialist here for Action Associates. With me, as always, is Mr. Rob Dallas. Thank you once again for hanging out. I know you guys' days are busy, so we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come learn something about our company and a little maybe bit more about the Infor CloudSuite solution. Everyone, have a nice day. Rob, have a great day. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.